Welcome, listener. You've stumbled upon the Unexpected Podcast. Whether you're meant to be here or not, you might want to prepare yourself for a world of stories you won't hear anywhere else. They are, after all, quite unexpected.
Private Eyes, also known as private investigators. These shadowy sleuths are tasked with solving some of the most horrific crimes ever imagined. Unlike the police, private eyes are hired to uncover the truth by the public, including friends, families, and lovers. But what if the truth that's being sought should remain hidden? We're about to find out. Turn up the air conditioning, grab a cold beverage, and try not to melt from fear as I tell you the scorching story of the Bigger Heat.
Boy, was it a hot night in the city that night. You had steam pouring from the sewers, ice-cold lemonade stands running out of ice-cold lemonade, and literal flaming bags of donuts and lunch meat in the dumpsters. With heat like that, all I wanted to do was duck home, put some sauce on ice, and take a cold shower. Of course, it made sense that there'd be a knock at the door right at that exact moment. Yeah, who is it?
Hello? Is this Private Investigator Peter Flame's office?
Sure is, Mother Goose. Now what do you want? Make it snappy. I'm fixing to get out of this oppressive heat, if you're catching my meaning.
Oh, believe me, I understand. It's a hot one out there. All right. But I've got something even hotter for you. You see, my son was murdered last night by some no-good thugs.
You don't say. Must be a Wednesday. So what happened to your kid?
They threw a brick through his window that wound up toppling his favorite statue, a 3-pound Maltese pigeon. It landed on poor Gus and killed him.
A 3-pound bird fell on a boy and it killed him? What is he made of, marshmallow?
Please, you've got to help me find the men who did this.
Listen, lady, that's a hot lead, all right, but it's nowhere near as hot as this wool suit I'm still cooking in. Why don't you bring it to the boys downtown? They could use something to do besides arrest jaywalkers and drunks.
Oh, I don't need to get the police involved. I'm not too concerned about the murder.
The murder of your son?
No, he was a bit of a loose cannon. I'm not entirely sure he's even mine. Anyway, what I'd like to know is whether or not someone took off with my favorite spatula. I loaned it to Gus and now it's gone missing.
A spatula? You don't say. What do I look like, a line order cook? Sorry, Toots. I ain't interested.
Would it change your mind if I offered you $100,000 to solve the case?
100,000? In American currency?
Yes, of course.
Say, that's a lot of clams, lady. You sure got some moxie coming in here, waving that kind of cash around looking for a cooking utensil? What is it made of, gold? Bunch of rubies? Gold and rubies? What's in it for you?
Just a little peace of mind and a sense of vengeance. Let's just say I made some delicious flappies with extra syrup with that spatula.
Ah, yes. Vengeance. That old 900-pound gorilla. Listen, why don't you give half your money to my secretary before you leave, and I'll see what I can do.
A secretary? All you have is a mop with a secretary name tag on it.
Don't talk about Dolores that way. Anyway, I'll take the other half after we square things up.
Thank you, Detective Flames. I shall see myself out.
The old bird seemed desperate to find her egg flipper. But with that many greenbacks, I knew she wasn't just some schnook whistling Dixie. Sure, the boys downtown could handle a quick open and shut case just fine. But there was something else going on behind the scenes with this one. and I'm the kind of guy who gets determined to do a little fishing at night. Got myself a real carp of a case, maybe even a walleye, and I don't particularly mind doing a little fishing, especially in this heat.
Hey, I heard all that. I was on the other side of the door. I don't appreciate being called an old bird. Huh.
I spent the first part of the next day in the sweltering heat doing what I do best. Getting to the bottom of things like a real anchor clanker. That old swell lady wanted to know where her spatula was. Well, I was just the brain to find it. Hey there, mister. You see who broke this window the other night? Hey, doll, could you tell me all... Oh, come on, Soucek, don't look at me that way. Don't you flip your wig. Psst, little boy. I got 2 nickels that want to know if you saw anything strange around here the other night, say about 10:30. What's that? You're his mother? Well, what do you mean you don't let him outside that late at night? Off the cob? Who, me? Hey there, Dolores. Sure is boiling out there right now. Yeah, you're looking real slack happy, aren't you? Well, not me. I thought this case was gonna be as easy to crack as a handful of hen fruit, but boy was I wrong. I'm gonna have to come at this thing from a different angle. What's that? Julius Caesar, a ghost? In my office? I know what you're thinking. A mop seeing a ghost in my office sounds real floy. But trust me, I've known Dolores for years. And she's not the type to go all cacky-wacky on me, making up apparitions of strange men in the office. It's an old building, one of the oldest in the city. There's bound to be some geezers hanging around who aren't too keen on hightailing it to the afterlife, even if it did feel like one of the warmer days in hell. Probably didn't help that my fan was broken. All right, ghost. I know you're in here. Come out with your hands up. Was that you, ghost? Or is that just my stomach hankering for some goo in the moo?
It's me, Gus. I know who killed me, Pete.
Yeah, and I'm bowling buddies with the Maharaja. Come on out, you knucklehead. I know I ain't on the sauce. Yet. Though, if I am being honest with myself, I suppose it could be this unimaginable heat that's making me hear things.
It wasn't a low-life thug who threw that brick. Oh no, this goes much deeper than that.
Christopher Columbus, it is a ghost! After a couple of days out in the sizzling heat, I was wishing for a cold rain to fall. Unfortunately, the only thing that was all wet was this case. And just when I thought that a ghost was the most terrifying thing I'd see in my office that week, someone else was about to walk through my door, ready to change my mind. Hey, what's the idea? Oh, well, my. What kind of trouble are you in, Bird?
Your secretary told me to walk right in.
Oh, she did she?
Well, not in so many words, sure. Considering your secretary looks to just be a mop with a name tag. Anyway, name's Betty. It's a pleasure to meet you, Detective.
Look here, Betty. I'm willing to take a flyer on you so long as you tell me why you're bothering me this late at night. In case you didn't know, it's well above average heat out there, and I'm fixing to head home for a stiff quencher or two.
It's about to get hot in here too, Detective. Real hot. So hot you just might melt.
Oh yeah? Well, I'd better go get that drink then. Good night, miss.
Hold up. Let's just say, it may interest you to know that I have an idea who killed that poor boy in his apartment the other night.
Oh yeah? And what's that idea's name?
It's Curly.
Curly, eh? I'm guessing he isn't the type to pal around with a couple of stooges. Where's he live? On the hind end of a pig?
He lives with me, since you're interested. He happens to be my husband.
Well then, do you mind bringing him in after ham and eggs in the morning? I've got a few questions I'd like to ask him.
I'm not his keeper.
I never said you was.
He's not my keeper either.
Well, how about that? You know, you got $1,000 dress and a 10-cent mouth, lady. But if you think I'm having a gas right now, you're sorely mistaken. It's about 150 degrees out there, which is about 100 more than I'm willing to stand.
You can only stand 50 degrees?
Listen, this ain't a math class, and I ain't some dull, dizzy tutor. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. Why are you here?
To tell you about my husband, of course.
Isn't that swell? So now you'd like to bring me into your little lover's quarrel?
I thought you might like to know who killed that boy and took his mother's spatula. Isn't there another 50 G's in it for you?
Say, you should know a lot, lady. What's the matter with you anyway? Your old man looked at a dame's pegs too long when you were out swinging a wing together and now you're on the outs? And here you think you could sway an old sucker like me into giving you a cut of the dough. Go take a powder, you're making me sore.
I don't need any of your money, detective. Flames, is it?
Only to my closest friends. You can call me Pete.
So old Pete bringing the heat. Isn't that a gas?
Yeah, a real humdinger. You really want to turn your ball and chain in, eh? You're looking to beat feet out of town with some of the lug?
My, you're good. I hope the old lady's paying you what you're worth.
I'm making out all right, though it's no business of yours. So what'd your old man do it for? He looking to flip patties at the diner 5 nights a week to buy himself a nice new fishing rod?
Shouldn't you be asking him that?
He as pretty as you?
Charmed. It turns out he owed some people some money. He owns the building the boy was killed in, you know. Wanted to make out on some insurance payout by breaking the glass. Wasn't trying to harm anyone.
There's a box of bones over in the Dongaroot Cemetery that might disagree with you.
Regardless, I've said my piece. Now go easy on him, won't you? For me.
Sure, Bird. I'll be a runny egg. It seems the dame was playing her run of cards a bit close to her chest after all. What old Betty neglected to mention was how the men her husband owed her were none other than the Pinstripe Posse themselves. She also wasn't too copacetic in giving me more information on the funny insurance contract. The idea of breaking a single window for a payout seemed a bit off the cob to me, so I looked into it a little further. Turns out, old Curly's policy had a double paying clause, meaning if a vandal broke the window, he got paid double as a property owner. I figured it was high time I got to the bottom of things myself by paying the old man a visit. Hey there, doll. Sure is hot out there. Got me spitting fireballs. You mind pointing me in the direction of the apartment manager's office? I'd like to cool off with a nice conversation and a bottle of suds between friends. Just then I saw a group of fellas looking anything but on the level marching through the building. I decided to get hot on their heels, in spite of the monstrous heat outside, of course.
The Unexpected Storytelling Podcast will return after a short word from our sponsors.
Now, for the first time ever in 4K...
You always have a very smooth explanation ready.
The classic film noir starring Bumphrey Snogart and Sherry Asterd.
The stuff that dreams are made of.
Now you can own this critically acclaimed motion picture, still with a 100% fresh rating on Rotten McDonald's Leftovers.
You'll never understand me, but I'll try once and then give it up.
The Maltese Pigeon.
People lose teeth talking like that. If you want to hang around, you'll be polite.
We now return you to your tale here on the Unexpected Podcast.
Though it was as hot as the end of a pistol for all of us that night, it seemed poor old Curly got a double dose of it. The lead in his belly wasn't even cold by the time I arrived at the Edwards and Robinson Insurance Company the next day to talk to a guy I thought might know a thing or two.
Come in, Detective. I've been expecting you.
I appreciate the warm welcome, fella, but I'm already a little overheated in my wool suit, if you catch my meaning.
I'm not sure I do. Wait. Oh, because it's hot out. Yes.
Yeah, that's the ticket. It is rather hot outside. A bigger heat than yesterday, even.
Right, we just went over that. Thanks for the updated weather report, Detective.
Look here, Robinson, is it? I'm not here to jitterbug with you. I only want to ask you a couple of questions.
Well, I didn't think they were paying you to tame lions.
Say, you're cute. Yeah, that's right. I'd remember a mug like yours any day, especially the day after seeing it at the old apartment complex on South Miller Avenue. You like making quesadillas, Robinson?
I can't imagine what you're prattling on about.
Where do you get your kicks, Sonny, when you're not here selling policies to poor suckers like Curly Jones? You don't seem like the kind of guy who reads the funny pages by the fire at night.
Well, I don't really think that's any of your business, is it? Now I can talk to you about insurance or a policy I sold.
Look, buddy, don't snap your cap at me. I'm not from the sticks. I know a hash brown flippin' mobster when I see one. And you, wise guy, are checking all the boxes. That's right. You were at Curly's apartment last night, weren't you? Maybe you didn't pull the trigger, but you sure didn't call the boys in blue after the fact.
That's quite the accusation.
You wouldn't happen to be friends with a dame named Betty Jones, would you? Yeah, I saw that look on your face just now. You look just like the cat that swallowed the canary. Am I getting under your skin, pal?
She's an acquaintance of mine, yes. So what?
Yeah, and I'm the king of Prussia.
Prussia doesn't have a king.
A wise guy, huh? The kind who sells old Curly a policy with a double paying clause, then convinces him to commit fraud against your own company so that you and his lady friend could eventually collect, is that it? Play Gone with the Wind afterwards, I suppose? Live a life of sipping cocktails on the Mexican beach and slapping potato pancakes on the hot top?
There's no sense lying to you now, I suppose. Yes, Betty and I are bunking up. And yes, we sold that silly policy to her husband. It didn't take much convincing for him to commit the crime, I might add. He owed a lot to my bosses. Nobody here is innocent, mind you. Not even the dead.
Yeah? Well, my name may be Pete, but I ain't stationed at the pearly gates. I'm here to solve this case, find the spatula, collect the rest of my pay, and jump into a cool ice bath. You sold that policy, Curly got his money, then you bumped him off to take it back, didn't you? Why? His life insurance didn't pay out enough?
There was no life insurance policy. That's why. Betty was only taking what was hers.
That's a crummy way of thinking about it. Although I suppose it makes sense for a couple of crumb bums like you. So what's the plan now? Got a hot date with some hot dogs and a hot grill?
Well, I suppose next you'll have me arrested. Isn't that right, Detective?
No, not yet. I got a feeling your bosses will be chafing for that dough, and you'll be belly up by sundown. That is, unless you, the girl, and the spatula chicken out and leave town. In that case, I'll be so hot on your heels that the outside temps right now will feel like a Christmas morning in Canada. I was sitting outside the hothead's apartment later on that stifling summer night, sipping burning hot coffee despite it being 27 degrees above the surface of the sun. It was all I had to drink as my sink was broken. I was parked 2 blocks away in a car as dark as a shadow, waiting for him and his dame to show their 2-timing mugs. Poor Curly. Shame his wife hadn't even made plans for his funeral yet, and here she was going on the lam with some old lady's tater-tot tosser. Guess he didn't mean much more to her than a flaming dumpster of bologna, which I happened to be parked right next to. Blasted thing just started right up on its own on account of the big heat outside. Well, wouldn't you know, there was old Robinson himself standing right outside my car.
Are you narrating to yourself in there? What are you doing parked right next to my apartment? Staking me out or something?
What's it to you, you big lug?
Big lug? But I'm an average-sized man.
That's what every two-bit cabbage head living out here in the street says, too. But I know a big lug when I see one, and you, mister, are the biggest they come.
All right, buddy. What is it you really want? I don't particularly enjoy spending my time prattling on with men in trench coats sitting in strange cars outside my apartment.
You know what I want. It's about yay big, comes on the end of a handle.
We don't have the spatula, all right? We just wanted the money. I don't know where the blasted spatula is. Curly's bosses probably have it.
So now you're telling me I gotta go rub shoulders with the mob just to get the old dame a rump slapper back?
Rump slapper?
Spatula, buddy. I'm talking about the spatula.
For goodness sakes, man. Why don't you just say spatula then? Why do you keep calling it different things? Whoa, looks like it's time for me to beat feet.
It seems old Robertson's pals had caught wind that the money he and Curly owed him didn't just grow wings and fly off to heaven. Unfortunately, it was my jalopy they was using for target practice, and I'm usually not one to sit around taking free doses of iron to the bloodstream. So I fired back. Alright, listen here, see? I'm known as quite the ducky shitting cracker, so I can cut a rug all night if you want. Otherwise, I figure we can set our heaters aside and talk this out like a couple of cool customers. On such a spicy night like this one, I'm all for option number 2.
Have it your way.
Who's that?
Boo, Detective Flames. Remember me?
You sound familiar, sure. But by the looks of you, I don't know you from a Thanksgiving turkey.
It's me, Gus, the dead kid whose case you've been trying to solve. But you might know me better as the ghost from your office.
Ha! You gotta be kidding me, pal. Ghost ain't real.
You sure didn't think so the other night? All I had to do was put on that bed sheet over my head, cut 2 holes out for eyes, and you went right on a jumping out your window like a real jive bomber with 2 left feet.
Ha! I knew you wasn't a ghost the entire time. My secretary just forgot to tell me she mopped up a spill right next to the window there.
Sure, Detective Flames. That's why you told a ghost to stick 'em up.
All right, you yuck. What's your story? I'm finding it hard to stick around here talking to you on such a sweaty night. This trench coat don't breathe at all.
Sure, I'll solve the case for you. Just so long as I get a cut of my mother's money.
You'll get a fresh cut of my knuckle sandwich if you don't hurry it along.
I faked my death, see? I wanted my old mother off my back. All those years of her denying I was really her flesh and blood, well, I was gonna make her miss me all right. And if she didn't miss me, I was gonna make her miss her true prized possession. Her precious spatula.
All right. So where's the onion chopper now? You tell me, and maybe I'll give you enough change to buy yourself an ice-cold soda fizz down at the corner pharmacy.
Well, just so happens I lost it. Hopping trains and all.
You lost it?
And I found it!
Benjamin Franklin! A ghost!
Stick 'em up, ghost. Don't take another step or I'll shoot you right between the sheets.
I'm a ghost. Do you really think I'm afraid of your earthly weaponry?
Ah, shucks. I'm all out of lead.
And I'm not really a ghost. Ha! I fooled you with this convincing bedsheet getup.
Mother!
That's right. It's me, your mother. I found your spatula next to the railroad, right behind your apartment. Your hands have always been as slippery as a freshly mopped floor.
Wait a hot second. Does this mean I ain't getting my dough?
That's right, detective. And son, the only dough you'll be getting is the stale bread they give you in prison.
Not so fast. Benjamin Franklin!
Huh. See what I mean about your slippery hands?
Oh, it ain't my fault. With all this heat, I've just been so sweaty.
Well, then, you're really gonna sweat this.
No! Ow! Detective Flames! She's hurting me! Ow! She's killing me with the spatula!
Well, you old bird. Looks like you killed the poor sap with your jam scraper.
Excuse me. What did I tell you about calling me an old bird? I'm not even 50 yet.
Yeah? Well, I think they'll be calling you a few worse things in the pen.
What?
That's right. While you was busy lumping your boy with that tomato squisher, I put in a call to the boys downtown. Caught 'em playing checkers at the station. They're pretty sore I broke it up and put 'em back to work. I wouldn't expect 'em to go too easy on you.
But you can't do this. My son faked his own death to steal from me. Then he tried to kill me.
Well, you know what they say in the good book about crime.
What's that?
That it's a lot like you. It don't pay too good.
Whoa! I don't know about you, but I had to put a tray of ice cubes down my pants to cool down from that last story. Murder! Ghosts! And spatulas! I can't think of a steamier way to wrap up the latest summer of scares. But if you believe this fall will be any easier on your psyche, think again! For these upcoming tales are so beyond the boundaries of the human mind, they defy explanation. So I'll see you soon, unless you fall to your death? Oh no! Oh, but seriously, watch your step. It can get quite slippery out there.
The Unexpected Storytelling Podcast is written, produced, and performed by talent from the United States and beyond. Get to know them at www.theunexpectedpodcast.com. The Bigger Heat, written and directed by Erik Bergstrom and Andrew Soucek. Featured actors in this episode are Patrick Croce, Katie Wickline, Sarah Palm, Erik Bergstrom, Andrew Soucek. Did you like the show? Consider leaving a 5-star review wherever you stream or download your podcasts. Join us on Twitter at Unexpected Show or on Facebook at The Unexpected Storytelling Podcast.